Hey everybody, it's Nikki and welcome to another speed build. Today is a very special one for me in particular because today I'm building the Griffin's house from Family Guy. Now, one thing about me is I am a huge fan of Family Guy. So this was a really fun project for me and I really tested myself trying to get it just right. As you can see here, I decided I needed to move to a bigger lot to fit the garage in and get, I don't know, just a 40 by 30 seemed like the perfect lot size for their house. So I had to move it. But this house really tested me because, like I said, I was trying so hard to get everything perfect and I just couldn't. It's still not perfect. You'll see once we get to the interior, there's many ways that it just doesn't quite match up, which was really frustrating for me personally, but what are you gonna do? It's The Sims 4. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about the build that I'm building now. You know, the whole reason we are actually gathered here today. So the exterior, I tried my hardest to get absolutely perfect, which is why the interior kind of suffered for it. I could have made it bigger and I could have done some things that would have made the interior look more accurate, but I really wanted the exterior to match more than anything, so I really put my focus into that. Thankfully, the exterior of the Griffin's house is pretty simple, so that wasn't too difficult to achieve. Just getting everything to match up on the interior afterward was quite a challenge, but you'll see when we get there. One thing I did have a bit of a challenge with was the landscaping, just because of the options that we have in The Sims 4, just to try to recreate the way the bushes wrap around the sunroom. It wasn't quite working, so I had to do a little finagling with that, but that was really my only struggle with the exterior. The exterior came together pretty smoothly for me otherwise, except there is one thing I did that was a massive regret of mine, and I will tell you about it when we get there for sure, but I'm still very mad at myself for it to this very moment. So yeah, it's a bit of a sore subject, but don't worry about it. The house came together relatively nicely. I'm very proud of it. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I put my heart and soul into making sure that at least the exterior was as accurate as it could be and the interior was as accurate as it could be. And let me tell you, the hours of Family Guy clips that I had to watch back just to try to see all the different angles of the different rooms, because you don't see every room in every episode, you don't see every angle of every room. The sunroom, for example, that I started out with, you don't see hardly ever. So actually, that was part of the inspiration when I decided to do this build, was a video I saw on YouTube that was all the clips from every time the sunroom is showed in Family Guy. I saw that and I was like, you know what? Now that I can look at the sunroom more easily, let's go ahead and build the Griffin's house. So here I am, building the Griffin's house, struggling, as you can see. So a big struggle I had in this build, among others, was where to put the basement stairs, because it's not super prominent, but there is a basement in their house. And based on the layout of the house, one would assume that the basement stairs go underneath the living room stairs. However, while you can do that in The Sims, you can't if you want to have the underneath of the stairs. So that was a struggle I had with trying to make that look right. I was kind of debating, you'll see in a minute here, I actually tried building a wall there and closing off the stairs just to be able to put the basement stairs underneath the stairs. But I ended up changing it because it's just not as accurate and I didn't like it as much. So The stairs ultimately do end up being open in the living room, and that means the basement stairs had to move. So basically what I did, you'll see in just a second here, I moved them over to the piano room and kind of created a little nook for them, which I think ended up working out in the end. It, of course, you know, made my piano room less accurate, but you know what? They don't show the piano room hardly ever anyway, either, so it's a miracle at all that the piano room made it to the build, so I'm not too worried about it. And then you can see I moved into the kitchen, which I do end up changing this. Don't worry, I realize that this is not accurate. I come back last second and change it later on. Why I did it that way in the first place, I do not know. I don't know what compelled me. I think I was just trying to make it look right from one angle, but then I remembered that they need a kitchen sink, and I was like, well, where does that go then? Oh my gosh, my regret just happened. I don't know if you saw that, but I moved the dormer in the back to make it as wide as the house instead of just a little bit smaller how I had it originally, which I thought looked a lot better and was a lot more accurate. But in order to make more room upstairs, I did extend it, which is my biggest regret of this build, to be honest with you. Just because I was so proud of the exterior, and you'll see there is a part where I try to go in and change it back because I realized my mistake, and I realized how much I disliked my mistake, but the roofing was just not working with me, and I wasn't about to fight with it all day, so we got what we got. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. That's what I always say. So anyway, finally we are getting to the upstairs, which honestly is the most disappointing part for me because it's the least accurate part, but I just couldn't, there was no way to keep the outside looking right that would make the inside look right, if that makes sense. So I had to just work with what I could do to try to get the vibe. Like, for example, they have a long skinny hallway in my build upstairs, which is just not accurate. At the top of the stairs in the show, it's, you know, much more open. They have a lot more space. So also you can see I don't have room for Peter and Lois's ensuite, so I kind of had to mimic that a little bit. Their room in general is the least accurate for sure, just because it was so cramped I had to squeeze it in there. Here's the part where I was trying to fix the dormer, and as you can see, some weird stuff was going on, and I could not be bothered to keep messing with it, so I just put it back, it fixed the problem, and I called it a day. So and then I went in and started working on Meg's room because, unpopular opinion maybe, but I really like Meg as a character, so I don't know, I wanted to put some work into her room, and I wanted to give her the room that she deserves, even though the room she deserves is probably a jail cell considering she's a murderer, but canon, not kidding, but I digress. I also just really like making teenage girls' bedrooms in The Sims, so you can see I'm just putting down some makeup on her vanity, because what she actually has on her vanity changes every episode, so I figured some makeup would be a fitting choice, so I just threw some of that on there. And now I'm bouncing around a little bit, back to Peter and Lois's room, back to Meg's room, just to put in the wallpaper and flooring, because I almost always forget to do that until last. So it's a miracle that I'm doing it right now, honestly. But after that, I got to move on to Chris's room. After I messed with the house a little bit there, because the roof was looking weird, I got to move on to Chris's room, which I debated on whether I wanted to give him a single bed or a double bed, and I wanted to give him a double bed, but it really just didn't fit in the room with the rest of the stuff that I needed to fit. So I decided to do a single bed. And honestly, I think it came together quite nicely. I think it still gives the vibe. Of course, I made sure to put his closet in there because it's important. Where's the evil monkey gonna live if there's no closet? Duh. So I made sure to add the closet in there. Honestly, I think maybe next to Meg's room, but not really. I think Chris's room came together the easiest, which I thought was weird because I just don't think about Chris's room very often, so but it did come together quite nicely and I'm really proud of it. Now we get to move on, last but certainly not least, to Stewie's room, which I had a lot of fun with, even though it is, once again, one of the least accurate rooms in the house. I just really like decorating nurseries, and even though his nursery isn't, you know, what I would usually go for, it was fun. This part was a challenge, trying to figure out how to do his little chair and tables, or chairs and table, because there's no good kids furniture in this game, so it was hard, but I found some stuff that worked, sized down a real table, called it a day. And then my least favorite part, that of course I put off till last, the bathroom. Which honestly, kind of nice bathroom. I think it came together kind of nicely. I have not play tested it, so I do not know if it'll work with the toilet that close to the shower. My guess would be no, but you know, that's fine. Nobody's gonna use them anyway. Certainly not me. So, anyway, then I just went around the house and added some finishing touches, adding some windows to the back, adding a tree, finishing up the landscaping in general. And then I remembered that I had a basement to do, so I went down to the basement and I added a few little features on the wall, and then just a simple washer and dryer, because that's all they have in their basement, except for that one episode where Peter turns their apparently now huge basement into a club. But no, in my build they just get a small basement with a laundry, how it should be. And as promised, I'm fixing the kitchen to make it more accurate. And with that, I'm just adding some finishing touches around the house. But we are coming up on the end of this speed build, so I just want to take a moment to say, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. You're amazing. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to let me know in the comments. And if you didn't, please don't tell me. I'm very fragile. Okay, bye. See you next time.